What's up, people? I'm Shaggy, the Opinionated Hippie, and this is part 3 of my reviewing David Bowie's live albums. I did the ones released during his lifetime. I did some of the ones released after he passed away, and then these are the ones that were released in the as part of, not necessarily in the, because there was no actual well, there was. All right, as part of the Brilliant Live Adventure series. Was it Adventures? Adventure. These were shows that all correlate to the albums that were released in the Brilliant Adventure box set. And these are the Brilliant Live Adventures is the name of the box set. And they were released separately. There were 6 of them. They're all shows from 95, 97, 99, and then one that's a compilation of materials from, I think, Earthling and the Outside tours. They were released separately, limited release, and then you could buy an actual box to all store them in. I think they all sold out immediately, and then they re-released them. I know they're currently available on davidbowie.com if you're interested. So I'm going to review these. I think they're all fantastic. I think it's 4 mostly complete shows, one like a sample that I've already talked about. It was released prior to Bowie's passing, but it's on part of the box set, so I'm going to re-talk about it. And then one that's a bunch of songs, about an hour's worth of material from like an hour and a half show. Yeah, just absolutely fantastic stuff. I think it's absolutely really, really good. It's really enjoyable. I like all of them. But yeah, and I will say a number of these shows feature Reeves Gabriel on guitar. Also Carlos Alomar on rhythm. There is evidence here to present the case that Reeves might have been at least what he does to these songs in the context, like what he does with the material that he has to work with, might be, I don't know what word to use, but he is amazing. Like, this should have been the David Bowie Reeves Gabriel tour. Like, his guitar work, the energy he brings, the solos, the way he interacts with Alomar when they're together, it is amazing. The bands are just amazing. I love the song selection, a lot of 90s material, but it all sounds fantastic. The deep cuts that David Bowie chooses on these are fantastic. But yeah, really, really good releases. How do we get here from Frank Zappa, Adrian Belew? He played for both of them. But anyways, yeah, I'm going to talk about all 6. I'll put the list up at the end. And then I'm going to make one more video after this in which I quickly go through all the albums and rank them. But anyways, yeah, let's get on to number 6. Number 6 is live at the KitKat Club, New York 99, November 1999. This is in New York City. The band on this one, the guitar players are Paige Hamilton and then Mike Plotty on guitar. We have Garson on piano. He's still around. Some awesome backing vocalists. Gail Ann Dorsey is on bass and vocals. Pretty fantastic. And this is just not a complete show. It's about an hour's worth of material from this show. That's why I have it at number 6, only because it's not a complete show. We're missing some stuff, kind of throughout, cherry picked throughout. But what we have here is fantastic. And I think it's very indicative of like what Bowie was doing with set lists at this time. And just kind of the way he structured his shows and the amount of new material that was thrown in that worked fantastically. But you open up with A Life on Mars, which is just piano, voice, beautiful opening. Reminds me of what Pearl Jam would always do with opening up with a ballad. We then go into Thursday's Child, which is kind of a chill, always reminds me of Sting, but I don't know, it really works live. I love the song. Something in the Air, another relatively new song at the time from This Is the Hours tour. We get a China Girl, which I'm not sure China Girl, I don't know. The live versions of China Girl don't get me the same way that the studio version does for some reason. I don't know why. But then we get Can't Help Thinking About Me, which was like one of the first songs he ever recorded, which he brought back. For this tour, he did. I think he brought it back on maybe the VH1 Storytellers. Was that where he brought it back? But he brought it back on. So was it on Changes Now? Bowie brought it back. Yeah, he brought it back recently. He's dropped it in some live sets. Really fun, upbeat, early Bowie song. Always crashing in the same car. He's really kind of. Some of these old tracks, he's really just kind of like, almost like deconstructing and then putting like a techno groove under them and then kind of rebuilding them over this like, kind of these sparse techno grooves that are pretty interesting. We get a Survive, we get a Fantastic Stay, a 7, Changes. One of these tours, and I think this is the tour where all of a sudden we're getting these changes that are like almost really true to the original studio version. And after getting so many kind of slightly different changes throughout the years, having like this kind of straightforward one, at least in the beginning. It kind of spreads out as the song goes on. Just reminds me how great Changes is. The Pretty Things Are Going to Hell, which I like. I think it's a fun song, really good live. And then it closes out with I'm Afraid of Americans. Really good listen, really solid listen. It's at number 6 only because everything else, number 5 is not a complete show, but 1 through 4 are mostly complete shows that are just have so much more to offer. But number 6, Live at the KitKat Club. Number 5 is Livewellcom, and I already talked about this a little more in depth than I'm going to now on my first David Bowie live video, because that's when this was released. It was re-released as part of this Brilliant Adventure series. I think it was remastered. And this is, this re-version is 11 tracks, all from, I believe, the Outside and Earthling tours. And it's just an assortment of songs from those tours. I think it's only from those albums, or maybe it's all from the Earthling tour, but only from those 2 albums. It's actually, I think, the way it's supposed to be. It's just really good versions of these songs, and they're live, and it's just a really fun listen. I'm Afraid of Americans, The Heart's Filthy Lesson, I'm Deranged, Hello Space Boy, Telling Lies, The Motel, The Voyeur of Utter Destruction as Beauty, Battle for Britain, and 7 Years in Tibet. All just fantastic songs. And then on this remastered one, I don't believe these 2 tracks were on the original, you get some of his sets had a dance set. He did like a 6-song, 7-song dance set before the main set. And you get these really long 8-9 minute versions of these songs. And we get this really long extended sort of dance version of Pallas Athena. And then a long dance version of V2 Schneider. Like just those tracks, I think, make the whole thing worthwhile. If you like his flirtations with techno and electronic music and dance music, those are ridiculous. But the whole thing is just a really, really fun listen. Talk about it more in that other video if you want to know more. But it's really, yeah, a really good sampling of stuff, all from 97. Yeah, it's all from the 90s. So it's all from 1 tour, but it only represents 2 albums. Yeah, that's right. But anyways, great, great release. My number 5, Livewellcom. Number 4 is No Trendy Réchauffé. Don't speak French very well. They believe this is the very last show. It's from Birmingham, December 13th, 95, the last show of the Outside tour. It has a couple of songs that I think were performed are very rare or being released for the first time. It's got 2 versions of Hello Space Boy. They filmed the second one. I think a video was going to be made for it. It never happened. And we have Reeves, Gabriels on guitar here, and who is on rhythm, and Carlos Alomar on rhythm. So right away, you're just getting the fantastic, fantastic guitar energy that just absolutely can't be beat. We get one little special song that's not normally part of their set list. I think we get a couple other really rare treats. But these top 4, I pretty much have them ranked by what's on the set list and whether one's longer than the other, because I think they're all just really, really good performances. Opens up with a fantastic Look Back at Anger. We get a Scary Monsters and Super Creeps. It's the second song, just keeping this really aggressive energy going. That goes into The Voyeur of Utter Destruction is Beauty. We get The Man Who Sold the World. The Man Who Sold the World's on these are these very sort of like low-key techno vibe remakes. Like the lyrical melody is still pretty strong in it. You don't get like the iconic guitar riff until like more than like a minute and a half, 2 minutes through the song. Definitely has a whole different vibe, but it's really cool. We get a Hello Space Boy, the first of 2. I Have Not Been to Oxford Town, Strangers When We Meet. That is an awesome choice. Love that song. I think that's one of the better songs from this era. Really nice to hear that. A Breaking Glass, The Motel, Jump They Say, Teenage Wildlife, which is going to appear again on this series. And this is when it fully takes on its sort of sequel to Heroes energy. It just is bigger. It's more epic. That guitar theme that goes throughout is, I think, digging into its sort of Heroes connection even more so. Just absolutely phenomenal live performances of this song. Under Pressure, which was really the one like, hey, let's throw something into the masses song that was almost played in the 90s. The bass player, what's her name? Gail Ann Dorsey does some of the vocals. She sounds fantastic. Then we get a Moon Age Daydream, which is, I think, pretty uncommon on this tour. Pretty nice to hear. It's got this weird little, almost like drum break where everybody kind of drops out while the drums just kind of like set up some energy, and then the guitar solo comes in. So it's kind of expanded a little bit. Fun to hear. It's definitely nowhere near as, I think, hard hitting and just overall dynamic and effective as the 70s version, but a nice inclusion. Then we get We Prick You, and then we close out with the second version of Hello Space Boy, which apparently they filmed for a video but never did anything with. Yeah, just really, really good. Like the stuff he is doing in the 90s, man, 95. This is some really, really good stuff. I don't know. I really like it. So yeah. Yeah, that's it. That's my number 4. No Trendy Réchauffé. I don't know. Number 3 is Something in the Air. This is in Paris in 99. This is the same band, same tour as the KitKat Club show, but I believe we have the entire show that's included on here. Yeah. And so we get 15 songs, the same set list almost as the KitKat Club show, but the things that were taken out are left in, and the things that were performed here that were left in are fantastic. Also opens up with Life on Mars, that awesome, really good Life on Mars voice piano, kind of very bare, awesome opening. We get a Thursday's Child, Something in the Air. Then we get a Word on a Wing, which, if I'm not mistaken, had not been performed for quite a while up to this point. So that was back in the set list, which is pretty cool. We get a Can't Help Thinking About Me, that old Bowie song's in there. We get a China Girl, which is still, for some reason, just I'm not connecting with these live China girls, and always crashing in the same car. A Survive. We get a Drive-In Saturday, which just seems to even commit more to sort of the 50s vibe. And it's just really, I don't know, really kind of a neat little standout track, and amidst some of the other stuff that's going on here. We get a Changes, which sounds just so true to the original. You just realize what a fantastic song it is, and just like, yeah, how I underappreciate it just because I've heard it so many times and probably don't give it the props it deserves. It does get a little more floaty, it seems, as it progresses, and he's kind of just given a little more space to like not tighten it up as much, but still a fantastic performance. We get a 7. We get a Repetition, which is really sweet. We get an I Can't Read, dropping an I Can't Read in the set. The Pretty Things Are Going to Hell, and then the whole thing ends up with a Rebel. So yeah, just really neat set list. A lot of good selections. The deep cuts are fantastic. Word on a Wing, Drive-In Saturday, Repetition, I Can't Read. Some really nice things popping up in there. And I'm always up for a Rebel. But yeah, Something in the Air. That is my number 4, if I'm not mistaken, or my number 3. It's my number 3, Live Paris 99. Yeah, good release. All right, let's get on to the next 2. Number 2 is, I'm going to mispronounce this again, I'm sorry. Ouvres les Chiens. I don't think it's Chien. This is live, Dallas in 95. I actually attended the show that immediately followed this one in Austin. I think it was literally the next night. This was October 13th, 95. I saw the one the following night in Austin. Pretty much, I think, the exact same set list, except what is missing is this was the tour with 9 Inch Nails, and there were 5 or 6 songs that they both played on right before this set starts, and that's not included on here. I believe there were licensing issues or something to do with the 9 Inch Nails part of the deal. So we just get everything from the time 9 Inch Nails leaves the stage on, but it's still really, really, really good stuff. And again, if I didn't say this already, anytime Reeves, Gabriel, I always want to mispronounce it, Gabriel's or Carlos Alomar are in the band, which is in this one, in the 97 ones. If I don't say that those two were bringing so many more incredible eyebrows or dropping killer solos or going at it together, or just, they are fantastic. And this is another show where they are fantastic. And I remember being at the Austin show going, this is like full-on jam band potential. The solos he's dropping at the end, the interaction between these two, Bowie could have completely redefined like what he was as an artist with those people in the band. It's just some fantastic stuff. Great set list. Look Back in Anger, The Heart's Filthy Lesson, The Voyeur of Utter Destruction is Beauty, I Have Not Been to Oxford Town, Outside, which is probably the one of the new songs that I don't think is quite as engaging live as the other ones are, Andy Warhol, which just has way much more of a drum heavy sort of XTC new wave funk pop weirdness type vibe. Just absolutely awesome. Sounds incredible. I wrote Devo B-52's XTC type kind of guitar energy going on in this Andy Warhol. Just an awesome, very weird little rocker. We get a Breaking Glass, which is pretty much, played straightforward. The Man Who Sold the World, that awesome deconstructed version in which you have all this like floaty type stuff going on, and then the guitar part kind of seeps in towards the end to remind you of what song you're listening at if you don't know the words. We Prick You, I'm Deranged. Another just, where did this deep cut come from? We get a Joe the Lion. Yeah, that's fantastic. Then we get a Night Flights, which is just, you just want to close your eyes and like just float on this song and like be hypnotized by its groove. And it is just one of his best songs he covers. It's a great song live. Just all the points for this. Then we get a really fun Under Pressure, huge crowd response. I remember in Austin at the time, I think it got the hugest crowd response there too. And Austin's got some pretty like, I'm always impressed with like when bands come and drop nothing but deep cuts. The audiences in Austin usually respond pretty well. I remember that Under Pressure got the biggest cheer. And then we get a Teenage Wildlife to close out again, leading into that awesome Heroes energy. But yeah, man, Reeves, he's all over the place. Carlos is there. So, I think Carlos drops a couple solos, if I remember correctly. His rhythm work is fantastic. The way they work together is amazing. This is just, the guitar energy is so incredibly good. So incredibly good. But yeah, that's my number 2. Only because the set list on number 1, I think, is really the tops of the tops. But yeah, on to number 1. And my number 1 is Look at the Moon. It's an exclamation part. 97 from the Phoenix Festival, not in Phoenix, Arizona by you. In somewhere in England, if I'm not mistaken, somewhere in Europe. No Carlos Alomar, but Reeves is here and he's kicking all the butt he can. And the set list just can't. The set list just can't be touched. It is a phenomenal set list. Quicksand to open. Yes. Starts off mostly acoustic voice for like the first half, and then we get big and explosive. Man Who Sold the World, that deconstructed version. Really nice kind of low-key opening to this, which I really like. Then we get a Gene Genie with a little drift and blues intro. The Gene Genie has a lot of acoustic energy until all of a sudden it doesn't, and we're in like full-on third song G Genie mode. I'm Afraid of Americans. Battle for Britain. Fashion. Awesome song drop right there in the first set. 7 Years in Tibet. A Fame, which is particularly nasty, just feels particularly Looking for Satellites, and then this is a 2-disc set. Disc 2 finishes off with Under Pressure. Disc 1 finishes off with Under Pressure. Disc 2, The Heart's Filthy Lesson. We get a Scary Monsters and Super Creeps. Hello Space Boy. Again, this is like techno and rock at the same time, with Reeves being Reeves in the best way possible. Little Wonder. Dead Man Walking. White Light, White Heat, which... not the biggest fan of Bowie's covers of Velvet Underground, not because I don't like what Bowie... I like the end result, but I don't think they're good interpretations of Lou Reed Velvet Underground songs. I don't think Bowie and Lou lived the same life. I think their energy is a little bit different, but I do enjoy the songs. And then, what is my favorite thing? Just, what a random cover song. Oh, Superman. Laurie Anderson's Oh, Superman. This one's a little more full-bodied, still pretty much the same template, but it's upped just a little, to convey to a festival audience. The ending, the instrumental ending part just feels a little more fuller, a little more fleshed out. The band's doing a little bit more work with it. But I think mostly Gail Ann Dorsey, the bass player, does most of the singing on here. And it is just, what an awesome treat. What a random song to cover. What an absolutely great surprise. And then after that, just a ferocious Stay to finish it out. Anytime Stay is dropped on here, these stays are all pretty nasty stays. But this Stay is just so much fun and so good. I'm trying to look at all my notes. Yeah, just a nasty Stay. There's some weird little synth effects in there to kind of set it up, and some weird, like, very sci-fi type stuff. But yeah, man, just Awesome set list, awesome show, awesome energy. Just a really, really neat listen. And that Oh Superman, what a great treat. Yeah, that's my number one. Look at the moon. It's an exclamation point in the title. All right, people, and those are the album rankings right there. 1, 6 through 1. They're all fantastic. 6 is fantastic. It's just a bridge. 5 is fantastic. It's just a sampling of songs from one tour. The other 4 are just absolutely amazing. I love them all. I would say set list preference is probably pretty much determining my ranking. And anything Reeves Gabriel's is on, anything Gabriel's is on, fantastic. Same with Alomar. Really good stuff. All right. Let me know your rankings. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know if you know more information about these than I do. But yeah, awesome release. Awesome release is the Brilliant Live Adventures needs to be released as a one box set. Let's do that. Let's just get that done so people buy it and can enjoy these things. All right, go listen to these. They're fantastic. Thanks for watching. Subscribe, like, share, comment, do all that stuff. Peace. Talk to you later.